What's up, everybody? It's Will B from the Blacksmith Podcast, back with another one. And if you look at my screen, you can see what I'm back with. We only got about a tenth of the way through the Robinhood call. That is Vladimir Tenev on the left. That is the co-founder and CEO of Robinhood. That is Jason Warnick on the right. He is the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer, the money man on the right. And we are going to get back into it where we left off. If you haven't seen part one is available. I will make sure I put it in the comments. I got this pen in my hand because what I'm attempting to do is write down the chapters, write down timestamps so that I can put chapters in the video so that you guys can skip around. If you want to know a certain question, I can put it in there. It's something new I'm trying out, but let's get into it without further ado.
All right. Thank you, Jason. All right, so we're going to now go to questions from our live audience, and we're going to start with Steven Chubak from Wolf Securities. Let's get him a mic.
Jason, Vlad, thanks so much for hosting this event.
Steven, good to see you.
Good to see you too. Maybe just to start on net deposit momentum, because in the second quarter, we did see a bit of a moderation. I know Steve Quirk spoke to some adjustments to promotional activity. You launched some promotions again alongside the crypto event, and then we're seeing a reacceleration in net deposits in July. And wanted to get a better sense as to how the strategy is evolving around net deposits and promotional activity more specifically, and given the attractive payback economics, why not lean into promotional activity a bit more? Why retrench or pull back any of the promotions at all?
Yeah, do you want me to? I'll go ahead and
why don't you
let the money man take it? Let's go.
So first of all, we love the promotions, and what's great is customers love these promotions. As you mentioned, the economics are incredibly compelling. And when we launch these promotions, we tend to see larger balances from customers come in, and that's showing up in our overall averages. Promotions are part of our playbook. We intend to continue to do it. We measure the economics on all of these promotions, and we watch the customer response. We had a really good promotion around crypto deposits where the community reached the goal, and we doubled the match rate to 2%. So, really good opportunity there. I wouldn't read too much into the activity of promotions in Q2. Like I said, it's part of our playbook, and we really like that.
Yeah, maybe I would just say two things. One is net deposits as a metric does have some volatility that's driven by traders. So, if the market is moving in crypto or in other asset classes in a particular direction, traders deposit money to take advantage of those opportunities, buy the dips, so forth. So there is a component that's going to fluctuate up and down. But if you look over the long run and you sort of like smooth out the inter-quarter, the trajectory for net deposits in this business has been quite strong. And I think if I look at the tailwinds coming up, continued customer engagement, growth in new products, expansion into banking, and all these new asset classes that are just ramping, all of that we believe will make the long-term trend of net deposits grow. And I think we're in a position where we've gotten more sophisticated about how we look at all marketing activities, and we're increasingly looking at these promotions alongside performance marketing and our other tools in one bucket. And I think we're fortunate to just see high ROI opportunities across the board. So we've scaled marketing quite a bit already this year, and it's been looking good. So we have to balance scaling it with making sure that we keep costs in line and we deliver that profitable growth that the team's been doing such a good job in delivering.
All right.
Let's take a powder right here. Okay. So I think what just happened, and that's a money man sitting in the crowd that asked that question. You can tell he's probably a financial manager at some firm or some bank or something like that. He's talking about net deposit momentum. He means people depositing money into Robinhood for trading or investing. And I think Jason talked about traders putting more money there. The money man that asked the question is asking, why not keep running these promotions, giving people bonuses, percentages, or whatever bonus they're giving for making deposits from certain accounts or whatever. Why did you take the bonus away and then put it back? And I think what it is they're trying to go ahead and grow the business into being a household name, so they can take all of the grand opening stuff down. Right, Robinhood's been around now since 2021. It's gained a lot of traction. I think they're still trying to gauge whether or not they need these promotions in order to attract new customers at the rate they are. And that's just a business move, right? You should absolutely be concerned about the promotions to keep getting new customers. Because think about it this way. A lot of them are new customers to trading, like they've never traded before ever. But then you're also getting TD Ameritrade, E-Trade, Webull. I can't say with all assurity, but some of these customers, I guarantee you, are coming over from other platforms. Maybe not those specifically, but they are, right? Robinhood is very easy to use, and they have made it to where even advanced, I would say journeyman and master traders can use it as well. So here's the thing about it, right? They're trying to gauge whether they need to run these promotions anymore or not. And they mentioned a lot of stuff, and I was going to pause it while he was talking because he gave a very, very long answer to say, with all the other stuff that we're doing, we're going to keep attracting new customers. We're growing at a great rate. He's talking about getting people interested with the banking and stuff like that. He's saying, don't worry about it. We're going to keep attracting new people.
Thank you, Jason. All right, the next question is from Dan Dola from Mizuho.
Thanks, guys.
Dan.
Amazing quarter, as always. And so my question is more broader. You had this really nice event in the south of France recently, and can you maybe talk a little bit about the long-term strategic opportunities with
if he gives a long
tokenization
answer,
of private assets, and some of the feedback you're getting from the market on all these great announcements that you've had just 20 days ago or so? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the To Catch a Token event, I'd say it exceeded our expectations. I think for an event in Europe to have it watched 25 million plus times. I mean, we were just talking about we were just talking a little bit earlier. That's more than many movies, right? So I think the team did a very, very nice job. I think it did two things. One is it was sort of a blueprint to the rest of the world of what can happen when you have clear regulatory clarity around crypto assets. And what's going to happen is a lot of the criticisms about crypto assets being sort of not tied to anything of fundamental value or mostly, meme based goes away because you can actually tie the technology to things that have fundamental utility. We've seen that a little bit with stablecoin in the US, and I think tokenization of real world assets just extends that concept. We've delivered it for exposure to public equities in Europe, but we've also demonstrated it with private stocks in Europe in the form of the giveaway. And I think the reception to that was very positive. I mean, it's clear customers want this. They not only want it in Europe, but they want it in the US as well. And I think it's currently a big problem, a big iniquity that more and more companies are staying private longer. And
all right, so he's talking about the France event that they did. I said if he was giving, I didn't finish, but if he was going to give a long answer, I was going to just chime in. So the France event they did, he's talking about they talked about crypto and how to invest in private companies and things of that nature. So they had a whole conference about a couple of different things, but he's going to address right here how to invest in private companies, that is one of the things that they are fighting the SEC on, because the SEC has a lot of, they're our referees, if you will, the judges on what you can and can't do with certain things. And so they have to go through them. But again, you as a common man, you could not invest into private companies unless you were earning $200,000 for 2 consecutive years, and you had to be on par to earn that your third year. Unless you're married, then it's $300,000, and you had to have a net worth of like $1 million. Do you know how hard it is to get your net worth to $1 million? So the common man was locked out of this arena, and what Robinhood is gearing up to do is allow the common man to invest into private companies. If you are not ecstatic about that, I don't know what to tell you. Basically, what they're saying is that when these companies start up, shares of their company might be 20 cents a piece. Boxable's private, and they just gave away 1,200 shares for $1,000 at 80 cents a piece. When they IPO, those shares are going to be $10. You could sell right away and take your profit. That's 11 grand. You just 11 extra money, right? So you should be, and that's exactly what all these people have been doing for eons. So that's what Vlad's talking about. Let's get back to it.
A lot of the big gains are reserved to private investors that are high net worth or institutional. So we are working to not just create a giveaway, but to turn this into a real product that's usable both in the EU and in the US. And we're excited to do that. I think we see a path to actually make that happen. Well, yeah, I think two things: demonstrate the power.
See that? I knew that's where he was going with it. They've talked about it before, but I've actually haven't watched ahead in this video. But that is phenomenal, folks. You ought to be on your feet, standing ovation, because that is going to change the game. And it takes money to make money. So let me explain this real quick, right? I should save this for the end, but I'm gonna put it right here. You dudes that are saying you don't have any money, let me come to your apartment or your home or wherever you live. I want to see where you live. I want to see what's in the driveway or the parking space, and I want to see what's in your closet. And if you have a separate closet for your shoes, let me see that. I'll tell you where your money's going. If you guys can save $1,000, $2,000, you can invest in these private companies and you can come up from your economic position. It takes money to make money. I just bought 8,000 shares, used $6,400 of Boxable, right? If it IPOs at just $10, that's like 73 grand. It takes money to make money, but you can't complain when you're spending your money on something else. I'll probably throw a little segue or something at the end, not a segue, but I'll probably do something at the end talking about these private stocks. But this company is my champion, my MVP stock in my portfolio, and this is why.
Or crypto technology, and show a roadmap to what Robinhood could be if it was rebuilt from the ground up on crypto rails. And I think there's a ton of benefits there, and also solve some pain points for European customers. And I think since that event, we've seen an acceleration in our European business, and we think we see a path to that being a bigger and bigger piece of Robinhood over time.
I think the event also is a nice highlight to our product velocity. We've had a number of pretty successful customer events this year. In September, we have one for active traders at Summit, but really proud of the team for how quickly we're building.
Let's get it.
Thank you. The next question is from Ed Engel at Compass Point.
Hey, thanks for taking the question. We've seen a couple more fintech companies start to apply for with the OCC for banking licenses. Curious whether your mindset has changed on that, especially just given some of the recent rollouts you've had on the banking side.
Yeah, maybe I'll field that. Feel free to jump in. I would say, first of all, we're always looking at the landscape and sort of like making decisions about where we see opportunities. You might remember 2019, we applied for a national bank charter with the OCC, and the impetus for that was we wanted to get into high yield products. to allow customers to generate more yield on their cash. And what we found was we were at this interesting inflection point where the partnership ecosystem around banking improved to the point where you could produce an even better savings product, the partnership route. And you could see that not just with the yield, but also the multiplicative FDIC protection. So by partnering with banks and creating this FDIC product, we could actually offer you a very high yield and multiples of the FDIC protection. And Jason mentioned that's grown to over 30 billion in our cash sweep. So that's been very, very successful. And now with our partnership with Coastal through Robinhood Banking, we're going to be able to offer a very competitive rate on actual savings accounts as well as checking. So basically, we found that thus.
All right, I got to cut in right here. So I don't know how Vlad grew up. I know he's first gen American. His parents came from somewhere else. He's been on Earn Your Leisure 3 different times, and I will tell you this: it seems like when he was a young man, he probably had ambitions and he knew he was going to be great, right? And when he made it, he said, when I make it, I'm going to offer this to everybody. And that's what he's really doing. He's really focused on getting what the high income, high earning, high net worth individual would have in a banking experience. He's bringing it to the common man. So high yield accounts. So like if you have an American Express, not everybody could get an American Express back in the day, right? They would give you 4 or 5% on your money, right? Just sitting there in a savings account. That's more like a savings certificate. And those are not really at banks at 5% back in the day. Those were the best of your credit unions only gave you really like 3. And sometimes you could get 5. But that's a regular savings account with, so what he's saying, high yield stuff like that for checking savings, you could deposit your money, have it sitting there and still have it outpace inflation. And the rich people, high net worth individuals have access to that. Common men don't.
Far, we've had all the capabilities available through the partnership model. And so the kind of cons have outweighed the pros of getting a charter. But we're always open to reevaluating it if the balance shifts and there's something that's much easier to do with the banking charter, especially as we get into more of these lending products. We're nimble and we can reevaluate quickly.
All right.
All right, folks, that's all the time we have for this video. What I'm going to do is I'm trying to break this down into smaller videos. So that was the 5th question overall, 3rd question in this video. I'm trying to keep them 20 minutes or less, so we're going to go ahead and do that. But I'm going to systematically break down this entire Robinhood call. And again, if you're not excited, you absolutely should be. Don't go off of what you think my level of enthusiasm is, because you'll see it more in my investment account than on my face. I am very excited for what they're offering and what they're trying to offer, because I understand that as a common man, I don't have the net worth to invest in the private companies. So when Boxable was offering, I used almost every cent that I could at the time to do so, because I have other endeavors that I'm also doing. You don't put your eggs all in one basket, but when they IPO, if I want to go ahead at $10 and take my 73 grand and run and put it into something else, that's how you multiply your money. Or I may hold it, and in 5 years, if it's $40 a share, now I'm over 200,000 or something like that. But anyway, guys, I will see you in the next one. Peace.